Hello student, myself Professor Anil Tilenge from SST College of Arts and Commerce, Ulhasnagar. Dear student, today I want to clear the concept from financial accountancy. You know, financial accountancy and your relation, it form 11 commerce. Dear student, in SYBCom, one chapter was there. That chapter name is External Reconstruction. Good, someone informed that Accounting Standard 14. Accounting Standard 14, it's totally concerned with external reconstruction. So what do you mean by external reconstruction? Another management, another organization connect with our organization and total management reorganize or reconstruct. It's called as amalgamation, external reconstruction. But our today's chapter is little but connect with external reconstruction. Dear student, our today's session, it concern with internal reconstruction. अब ये internal reconstruction हम क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं? What are the object behind that? ये सब चीज़ें हम पहले समझ के लेंगे. At SYBCom, there was one theoretical subject, auditing. In auditing, there was one notes. The note concerned with window dressing. You know what is the concept of window dressing? Show the better financial statement picture than its actual nature. Means you show the financial position in better manner than what actual it is. That concept is called as a window dressing. And my dear student, till TYBCom, it's your semester 5th chapter, till a fourth semester, all of you observe so many balance sheet, so many financial statement. In that financial statement, at asset side, goodwill may be there, profit and loss account at asset side, preliminary expenses, it may be involved in a balance sheet asset side. What show such a picture? Such pictures show that such a fictitious asset does not having a realizable value, because goodwill valued in case of admission, goodwill realized in case of retirement, which all of you already learn. But under internal reconstruction, when any management, when any organization show the wrong picture, we doesn't say as a wrong picture, but with the support of law, they express, they present so many fictitious assets on balance sheet asset side. I already provide you example of preliminary expenses, example of discount on issue of shares, example of goodwill. All are treated as a intangible fictitious assets. Dear student, fictitious assets are those assets which when you tally all the ledger balances, the debit balance of ledgers which not accepted by trading account, not accepted by profit and loss account, that's why all debit balance presented at the asset side. Now what is the picture of balance sheet? So many fictitious assets, little but tangible assets are there. If you actually revalued or actually valued the balance sheet of that particular organization, it affects the efficiency of organization. That's why the cautious manager come together and they decide that क्यों ना हम ये जो fictitious asset है, जिनकी मार्केट में रियलाइजेबल वैल्यू हम जितना एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं उतनी नहीं मिलेगी, तो ऐसे फिक्टिशियस असेट्स को हम राइट ऑफ करेंगे, इनको हम डिक्लाइन करेंगे. बट कैसे डिक्लाइन करेंगे? सो फॉर दैट पर्पज व्हेन यू राइटिंग और इट्स मे बी अ डिक्लाइनिंग द असेट्स, पैरेलल you need to decline the liability side also. In such cases, a total management come together. They also invite the capital holders. In joint stock company, you know that there is a different sources of share capital. equity capital is there, preference capital is there, some source of borrowed capital may be there, debenture holders, then deposit holders. The management invite all such investor, that is a capital holder, and present the total scenario information in front of that's maybe a capital holders, and they inform them, देखो भाई हमारा सर सलामत रहेगा तो पगड़ी 50 हमारे पास आ सकती है। करंटली हमारे बैलेंस शीट में लॉट्स ऑफ फिक्टिशियस असेट बढ़ने से हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एफिशिएंसी में कम जाती जा रही है, तो क्यों ना हम आपका जो शेयर कैपिटल है, सपोज इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स, द वैल्यू ऑफ इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स 10 रुपीज ईच है, तो उन इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स को रिक्वेस्ट की जाएगी कि करंटली वी डिक्लाइन योर फेस वैल्यू फ्रॉम 10 to ₹5। तो यहां पे हुआ क्या, जो 5 लाख का शेयर कैपिटल था 50% डिक्लाइन होने से इट बिकम अ 2,50,000। तो ये 2,50,000 की जो लाइबिलिटी डिक्लाइन हो गई है, वो कैपिटल रिडक्शन हुआ है। दैट अमाउंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इंटरनली फिक्टिशियस असेट को मिनिमाइज करने के लिए, राइट ऑफ करने के लिए यूज कर सकती है। दैट्स व्हाई द चैप्टर नेम इज कैपिटल रिडक्शन, बट इट इज इंटरनली रिकंस्ट्रक्ट। इंटरनली मैनेजमेंट केम टुगेदर and internally by reducing capital they decline, they write off their fictitious asset. That's why our current chapter is capital reduction and internal reconstruction. Okay, so just in introduction I already clear, here is the minimization of capital, and that minimization support for the reduction of fictitious assets. All these things I clear in meaning. Reconstruction is the process of reorganization. Organization reset up, restructure through the concept of capital reduction. Okay, all these things we already clear in introduction. My dear student, when you follow the capital reduction and internal reconstruction process, there are so many legal provisions are there. But as a student point of view, as an accountant point of view, all of you should take into consideration some legal provision. Provision number 1, permission from articles of association and permission from memorandum of association. Sometimes for the upgradation of authorized capital, even central government permission also require. I already mentioned methods of reconstruction. If you want to conduct the reconstruction, for that purpose there are some methods. In that, the first method is alteration of share capital. So what do you mean by alteration of share capital? In introduction I just clear, under capital reduction the capital alter, capital change. So how it change? There are some methods of alteration of share capital, but I want to mention here, dear student, as per section 94 of Companies Act 1956 and currently amendment 2013, a company can alter the capital clause which already mentioned in memorandum of association. So आपको यदि capital reductions करके लेना है, तो you should take into consideration, you must, that's maybe a go through the section 94 of Companies Act 1956 and also verify, also that's maybe a check whether your memorandum of association and articles of association permitted or not, which I already mentioned in our next slide. If you take into consideration, there are some alternative methods how any company alter its share capital. Number 1, increase in share capital. It's a first method. Through the increasing share capital, as a TY student, all of you know, when company want to increase the share capital, the main option to issue the new shares. So when company issue the new shares, automatically there is alteration of share capital. So how company alter the share capital through the issue of shares? The entry will be, I already mentioned the entry here. When issue the new shares, the first entry, bank account debit to share capital application allotment money account credit. शेयर्स एप्लीकेशन एंड अलॉटमेंट मनी क्रेडिट करेंगे अप्रॉक्सीमेटली आपको और एक एंट्री करनी पड़ेगी, इक्विटी शेयर एप्लीकेशन एंड अलॉटमेंट अकाउंट डेबिट टू इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल. If you observe the two entries, bank account debit to equity share capital, equity share application to allotment, approximately आपका पहले एंट्री का डेबिट क्रेडिट और दूसरे एंट्री का डेबिट निकल के एक्चुअल एंट्री बैंक अकाउंट डेबिट टू शेयर कैपिटल, मीन्स कंपनी रिसीव द बैंक एज वेल एज देयर इज इंक्रीज ऑफ शेयर कैपिटल. Another method of alteration of share capital, that method mention consolidation of shares. Sir, what do you mean by the consolidation of shares? Here in slide I put the example of consolidation, but listen carefully my dear student. When a smaller denomination of shares converted into a larger denomination is called as a consolidation of shares. Now सर इस कंसोलिडेशन से शेयर अल्टर कैसे होगा? लेट्स सी द वन एग्जांपल इज देयर. VBS लिमिटेड हैविंग अ 10,000 इक्विटी शेयर्स ऑफ ₹10 ईच. अब कंपनी के टोटल शेयर कैपिटल 10,000, फेस वैल्यू ऑफ शेयर इज 10 ईच. नाउ दे कन्वर्टेड शेयर्स इनटू 100 ईच. सो 10 रुपीज का शेयर्स उन्होंने 100 रुपीज में करना सोचा. तो व्हाट्स हैपन, यहाँ पे आप यदि प्रॉपरली ऑब्जर्व करेंगे तो 10,000 नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स, एंट्री देखो, इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल अकाउंट डेबिट 10 ईच, वहां मेंशन किया है स्लाइड में, टू इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल, मतलब ओल्ड इक्विटी शेयर जो कम होता है वो डेबिट में जाएगा. इट्स अ रूल से दैट व्हेन लायबिलिटी डिक्लाइन इट शुड बी डेबिटेड. सो 10 रुपीज शेयर्स नाउ कन्वर्टेड इनटू 100 रुपीज शेयर्स. A narration clear each and everything. Being 10,000 equity share of ₹10 each, now consolidated into 1,000 shares. So consolidations method 10,000 shares को 1,000 shares में क्या किया? Convert किया. That's why there is a alteration of shares. So keep in mind consolidation of shares. Next, my dear student, subdivision of shares. Subdivision is totally against to the consolidation. Under consolidation, smaller denomination converted into large denomination of shares. Here the large denomination of shares convert into the smaller denomination of shares. That concept is called as a subdivision. Means one example, ABC Limited having 1,000 equity share of ₹100 each, decided to subdivide it into ₹10 each. तो अब होगा क्या? 1,000 नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स नाउ इंक्रीज हो गए, वो कितने तक बनेंगे? 10,000 तक बनेंगे. दैट्स अ मेथड्स ऑफ द अल्टरेशन ऑफ शेयर्स. सो नाउ कीप इन माइंड, फर्स्ट नथिंग बट द अल्टरेशन बाय न्यू इशू, अल्टरेशन बाय कंसोलिडेशन ऑफ शेयर्स एंड अल्टरेशन थ्रू द सबडिविजन. नाउ समटाइम्स द अल्टरेशन ऑफ शेयर कैपिटल, it may be through conversion of share into stock. All of you know the stock is the bundle of fully paid up shares. So share may be company convert into the stock. So through converting into the stock, the share capital may be altered. What will be the entry common sir, share capital decline हो रहा है, तो share capital account debit to equity share stock account, that is a conversion of the shares into stock. Next process, the example concerned with how company convert its shares capital into stock. The VES Limited having 1,000 shares of ₹100 each. Keep in mind the value of share is 100, so it's become a 1 lakh converted into equity stock. So entry pass, equity share capital account debit to equity stock accounts. Narration being 1,000 equity shares of ₹100 each converted into equity stock. Sir, another method is there for the alteration. Sometimes there may be unissued shares. I already mentioned in slide. When the shares are unissued, it's not affected for the alteration of the share capital. No entry pass for such types of unissued shares. But sometimes there may be a possibility of surrender of shares. So another method for alteration of share, that method is surrender of share. So many students know the concept of surrender when shareholders unable to make the payment of unpaid call. That time the shareholder may choose the option of surrender of share. So under the surrender of shares, which entry to be passed for alteration of share capital, I already mentioned in a three sub points. When shares are surrendered, the entry become shares are surrendered. So what is decline? Share capital decline. So entry becomes share capital account debit to share surrender account. Now such surrender shares company again issue. So what will be the entry? When surrender share company again issue, entry will be share surrender account debit to share capital account. Some cases the surrender share may be cancelled. Such situation, under capital reduction, we need to mention the entry share surrender account debit to capital reduction accounts. My dear student, इस एंट्री से हमारे एक कंसेप्ट को हम यहाँ पे एंटर करते हैं, एंड दैट कंसेप्ट इज कैपिटल रिडक्शन. अंडर कैपिटल रिडक्शन एंड इंटरनल रिकंस्ट्रक्शन, ये कैपिटल रिडक्शन जो अकाउंट है एक हीरो की दैट्स मे बी अ रोल प्ले करता है. किस तरह? बिकॉज इट्स अ नॉमिनल अकाउंट. व्हेन देयर इज अ डिक्लाइन ऑफ असेट, लिसन केयरफुली, व्हेन देयर इज अ डिक्लाइन ऑफ असेट, देयर इज अ लॉस ऑफ बिजनेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. Whereas there is a decline of liabilities, there is a gain or profit of business organization. Such things we need to present properly, and that presentation are conducted into the capital reduction account. I already clear capital reduction account itself a nominal account. The rule of nominal account: debit all expenses and losses, credit all income and gains. So if you refer the pro forma of capital reduction account, the outcome of capital reduction account is nothing but the capital reserves. But how outcome we found? See here, two profit and loss accounts दिखाई दे रहा है, two goodwill account और ब्रैकेट में मैंने return off भी लिखा है, preliminary expenses written off, discount on shares debenture written off, assets decrease, that is called as a depreciate, bank any unrecorded liability organization paid, any expenses organization paid, any refund to director fees paid. So all expenses, all losses are to be debited to our capital reduction account, which already mentioned in pro forma of capital reduction accounts. When you reduce, when you write off the any fictitious assets, प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट्स हो सकता है, गुडविल हो सकता है, देन मे बी आप सम शॉर्ट ऑफ पैटर्न्स आप क्या कर सकते हो, राइट ऑफ कर सकते हो. तो इट नीड टू डेबिटेड और कैपिटल रिडक्शन अकाउंट्स. सो वन कॉमन एंट्री में यहाँ पे आपको बता सकता हूँ, ऑल असेट डिक्लाइन एंट्री बिकम कैपिटल रिडक्शन अकाउंट डेबिट टू प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस, टू गुडविल, to preliminary expenses, to respective assets. So loss debited to the capital reduction account. Whereas when you decline your share capital, value of share capital, I already mentioned it's income of organization. It how credited? See the share capital, by share capital, by debenture, by creditor, by asset if increase in value, and by sale of any unrecorded assets. All are mentioned on credit side of capital reduction account. When there is a decline of share capital, see 10 rupees shares you decline for 5 rupees, so it is nothing but the little but financial support to the organization, and all that financial support internally conducted by organization. That's why our chapter name is internal reconstruction, okay, through the support of internal management. My dear student, when you calculate or when you cast the total pro forma of capital reductions, the credit side if greater than debit side, the difference is treated as capital reserve, and that capital reserve you can mention in a new balance sheet, equity share capital at revalued value, preference share capital at revalued value, and below that some reserves and surplus capital reserve we need to mention in that reserve fund, so we can find out a total own funds. So that is a little but a theoretical part of capital reduction. Internally management came into front, invite their liability holders mostly equity share, preference shareholders, and external debenture, as well as sometimes creditor also waives their claims, and all these creditors, all these that may be liability holders, support to the organization for a write off their fictitious asset. And when you write off all the fictitious assets, a clear, true, and a fantastic balance sheet picture, it may be in front of management, which helps to increase efficiency of organization, and our organization may be function in effective manner. Let's see the one practical problem which orally I want to explain in front of you. The following balance sheet of Sun Limited as on 31st March 2013. So easy process. Equity share capital 10,000 of rupees 10 each, 1 lakh. 11.5% preference shares of rupees 100 each, 20,000. Sundry creditors 1 lakh. Goodwill as already mentioned. Intangible, plant and machinery, inventory, कस्टमर्स इट ट्रीटेड एज डेटर्स. अब TY के लेवल में हो गए तो थोड़ा ऐसा कंफ्यूजिंग वर्ड्स आपके सामने डालेंगे. कैश एंड बैंक, प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट. द वैल्यू ऑफ बोथ साइड 2,20,000. नाउ व्हाट वी वांट टू दैट्स मे बी गो थ्रू. हमें क्या करना है, एडजस्टमेंट सबसे पहले पढ़नी है. फर्स्ट एडजस्टमेंट, द इक्विटी शेयर्स बी रिड्यूस बाय ₹5 ईच. क्या बोला इन्होंने यहाँ पे, जो 10 रुपीज का इक्विटी शेयर है वो 5 रुपए करने का है. तो सो सिंपल. एंट्री देखो कैसी होगी, आप ओरली भी इसको अंडरस्टूड कर सकते हैं. हमारा इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल था, आप लिख सकते हैं इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल ब्रैकेट में 10,000 इंटू 10 बिकम 1 लाख. टू न्यू इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल क्रेडिट में न्यू इक्विटी नंबर 10,000 इंटू 5 होगा. सो 10,000 इंटू 5 50,000 क्रेडिट में गया. सो अब जो 50 का डिफरेंस आया, इट ट्रीटेड एज अ कैपिटल रिडक्शन. सो एंट्री बिकम इक्विटी शेयर कैपिटल 1 लाख टू न्यू इक्विटी 50,000 टू कैपिटल रिडक्शन 50,000. सो सिंपल. यू कैन एक्सप्लेन और यू कैन प्रेजेंट योर जर्नल एंट्री in such types of problem. Second, preference shares reduced by ₹20 per shares. So our preference share is 100 each. Now वो आपको 25 करना है, उसकी भी एंट्री में बता सकता हूँ. 11.5% preference share 20,000. Now it's become it's lower to 25 per shares. reduce किया मतलब 25 रुपये से कम करना है. तो now preference shares account debit 20,000 to new preference shares 15,000 to capital reduction. Sir, sundry creditors have agreed to reduce their claim of ₹15,000. 15,000 का creditors claim कम कर रहे हैं. कुछ नहीं, लाइबिलिटी कम हो गई, क्रेडिटर्स डेबिट होंगे, क्रेडिटर्स अकाउंट डेबिट टू कैपिटल रिडक्शन अकाउंट. सो जहां जहां पे आपको इनकम लग रहा है, जहां जहां पे बिजनेस का मुनाफा दिख रहा है, यू शुड बी दैट्स मे बी क्रेडिटेड टू द कैपिटल रिडक्शन अकाउंट्स. नाउ लास्ट एंट्री, राइट ऑफ ऑल प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट्स एंड इंटेंजिबल असेट्स. डियर स्टूडेंट, एंट्री बिकम कैपिटल रिडक्शन अकाउंट डेबिट to goodwill 20,000 to profit and loss account 50,000. So capital reduction 70,000 to goodwill 20 to profit and loss account 50,000. That's it. It is the end of all journal entry. Only one journal entry remain. When you close the pro forma of capital reduction, there may be a possibility of finding out of capital reserve. You can use that capital reserve and you can prepare a new balance sheet, which is pure balance sheet, which is a fictitious asset less balance sheet. You can present in front of the student. Thank you. Thanks for